Welcome back. Last time, remember, we learned about how Saul was told he would become king. Now let's hear the rest of the story when Saul became king of Israel. Samuel, the judge of Israel, called all the people together in Mizpah and said, "The Lord your God has brought you safely out of the hands of so many nations and kingdoms that oppress you. And today you are rejecting God by asking for a king to rule over you. Now," said Samuel, "everyone grouped together in tribes and families." And Samuel cast lots, and the family of Benjamin was chosen. And Samuel cast lots again, and the family of Matri was chosen. And then Saul, son of Kish, was chosen. But when they went to congratulate Saul, no one could find him anywhere. And they finally were about to give up when Samuel asked the Lord where he was, and the Lord told him that he was hiding among the supplies. So they ran and found him. And when they brought him out, he stood taller than everyone from his shoulders up. "See who God has chosen? There is no one else like him," Samuel said, as he presented Saul to the people. And all the people shouted, "Long live the king!" And Samuel told the people the rights of the king and wrote them all down in a book and laid it before the Lord. Then he sent the people home. And Saul went home to Gibeah. And God touched the hearts of warriors from Israel's army, and they went with him. But some wicked men who hated God said, "How shall this man save us?" And they wouldn't bring him any presents, but Saul pretended not to notice. Then the wicked King Nahash of the Amorites surrounded a town called Jabeshgilead. The men of the town were not strong, so they said to King Nahash, "Please don't kill us, and we will gladly give up and become your slaves." But King Nahash responded, "That's fine. These are my conditions for surrender. I will not kill you, but I will gouge out all of your right eyes, and you will be a bad taste in the mouths of the rest of your countrymen." The men of Jabeshgilead were aghast, and they requested that King Nahash give them a week to send messengers to everyone around them to see if someone should help them. And if nobody would come to their rescue, then they would come out and get their eyes gouged out. King Nahash laughed when he heard that. "The little bugs, let them ask for help. I will squash all of Israel with my littlest finger." So the men of Jabeshgilead sent messengers, and when the messengers arrived at Saul's home in Gibeah, he was out plowing in the field with his oxen and servants. When he heard that his brethren were in trouble, the Lord stirred up his heart, and he became angry. And right there, he chopped up his oxen and sent the pieces of them to all the tribes and said, "This is what I will do to your oxen if you do not come help me fight against the Amorites and rescue Jabeshgilead." And the respect of God came on the people, and 330,000 men came to Saul. Then they sent messengers back to the men of Jabeshgilead. The city was relieved and rejoicing, but they told King Nahash that they would surrender the next day. Early the next morning, Saul put the people in 3 companies, and they sneaked into the middle of the Amorites' camp just as it was getting light and attacked them. They fought all day until it was afternoon, and they scattered the Amorites all over the country so that you couldn't find 2 of them together. After that, the people said to Samuel, "Who are those men that didn't want Saul to be our king? They shall be put to death." But Saul stopped them, saying, "No, my brothers, no one shall die today. Today we have had a great victory, and God has saved us." "Come," said Samuel to the people, "let us go to Gilgal and re-establish the kingdom." So all the people journeyed to Gilgal, and they made Saul king of Israel before God, and they offered sacrifices and peace offerings and were very glad and were rejoicing. Then Samuel stood up before them and said, "Speak now before the Lord's anointed, if I have stolen anything from you or taken a bribe or harmed you in any way." The people answered that he had not. "The Lord and King Saul know that I have taken nothing from your hand?" asked Samuel. "Yes, you have been an upright judge, Samuel," said the people. Then Samuel told the people how they had turned from God, and God had put them under their enemies, and they had cried and turned back to God, and he had delivered them. Many times the people had done this, turned away, cried to God, repented, God delivered. Then they turned away again. Now, said Samuel, you come up against a problem. Instead of turning to God, you get yourselves a king. Although God was your king, you rejected God, and now God has given you your heart's desire. Behold, here is your king. The people listened in perfect silence. If you serve the Lord and listen to his voice and serve him only, then you and your king will continue to serve God. But if you do not, then God's hand will be against you, just as it has been against your fathers. Having a king changes nothing. Watch this sign and know how God feels about you going your own way instead of going his way. Today is the wheat harvest, is it not? Lord, Samuel lifted his eyes to the heavens. Show your people what you think about them having a king that is not you. Suddenly the sun went behind a cloud, and to the horror of all the people, a hailstorm smashed all their wheat crop. Then the people began to realize what they had done, and they were afraid of what the Lord and Samuel would do. Please, Samuel, pray for us, so God does not strike us dead. We should not have asked a king for ourselves when God was our king. But Samuel said, don't be afraid. God doesn't get pleasure from striking you dead. He wants your hearts. He wants you to stop serving yourselves and other gods and serve him alone. Yes, you did an evil thing to set up another king when God was your king, but he takes pleasure in having you as his people. He loves you, and he wants to teach you that the best way is his way. Don't turn aside to things that have no power. Set your heart on the Lord, for he will not forsake you. If I stopped praying for you, I would be sinning against God. I will teach you the right and the good way. Fear the Lord and serve him in truth with all your heart. Think of the things he has done for you. But if you continue to do wickedly, you and your king will die. That is where we will stop for today. The next story is going to describe Saul's acts as king, and we will see if the people took Samuel's advice or not. Looking forward to seeing you then.